You know, conflict in a relationship, it's pretty much guaranteed. But what if it didn't have to be this destructive thing? What if instead of being a sign that you're failing, it could actually be the very thing that helps you grow? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down a really practical blueprint for turning those arguments around and building a partnership that feels deeply connected.
Oof. Does this thought feel familiar? It's that sinking feeling you get when the honeymoon phase is definitely over and, well, reality sets in. It's a thought that echoes in the minds of so many couples when they just feel disconnected, misunderstood, and totally stuck. It can feel like you're all alone in this, but trust me, it's an incredibly common place to be.
So here's the thing. Relationships naturally move through different stages, and after all that initial romantic bliss, most couples find themselves smack in the middle of what's called the power struggle. Yeah, this is that fun phase where all those little quirks you once found so endearing suddenly become unbelievably annoying. It's a tough phase for sure, full of tension, but it's also a completely normal part of building a real life together.
So how do you know you're in it? Well, do fights seem to just blow up out of nowhere? Does trying to talk feel like you're walking through a minefield? And maybe the worst part, do you feel completely alone, even when you're sitting in the same room? That feeling of connection you once had just feels gone. These are the classic signs of the power struggle.
It is so easy to feel hopeless at this stage, but this is actually a crucial turning point. You can either stay stuck in that struggle, kinda drift apart, or you can choose a totally different path. What if, instead of just letting your relationship happen to you, you could intentionally build the partnership you've always wanted, by design?
And that's exactly where this idea of a connected partnership comes in. I want you to think of it like building a house. You wouldn't just toss a bunch of materials in a pile and hope it stands up, right? No way. You need a blueprint. You need a solid foundation, you need sturdy walls, and you absolutely need a protective roof. We're going to use that exact same framework to design a whole new way of relating to each other.
And the absolute foundation of this house, the concrete slab that everything else rests on, is emotional safety. This is the key to everything. Safety just means creating an environment where both you feel like you can be yourselves without being hurt or criticized or put down. Without that feeling of safety, genuine connection and healing are, well, they're pretty much impossible.
Okay, so how do we protect this foundation we're building? We start at the top by building the roof. And this roof is what we'll call a no negativity pledge. It's designed to shield your connection from all the toxic stuff that can wear it down. This is a conscious decision you make together that can create an immediate, powerful shift in how you interact.
So to build that roof, we have to get rid of 5 specific relationship toxins. Think of shame, blame, and criticism as being like acid poured on your connection. They just make it impossible to feel safe. And we can't forget their sneaky cousins, hurtful humor and sarcasm. Getting rid of these 5 things is totally non-negotiable if you want to create that safe space.
Okay, with the foundation laid and the roof on, it's time to build the walls. And these walls are built with the one core skill you need to completely rebuild communication from the inside out. It's a structured process called the couples dialogue.
Now, this is not your typical conversation where 2 people are just talking at the same time. No, this is a very structured 3-step process. First, you mirror, which means you simply repeat back what you heard so your partner feels truly seen. Second, you validate, confirming their perspective makes sense to them. And third, you empathize, which is all about trying to genuinely feel with them. Let's really focus on that first step, because honestly, it's the hardest, but also the most important. Mirroring is purely about listening to understand. That's it. You are a mirror. You reflect back what was said to check for accuracy. And this is crucial. This means you are not offering your opinion, you are not defending yourself, and you are absolutely not trying to jump in and fix the problem. Your only job is to listen and reflect. Period. Now, I get it. Diving into a heavy conflict with this brand new tool can feel a little intimidating. So we're going to practice on something positive first. The appreciation dialogue uses the exact same structure, but in a really low-stakes, connection-building way. It's kind of like learning to ride a bike on a soft, grassy lawn instead of a busy street. And before you even say a single word, there's a really simple action you can take involving just 3 breaths that can completely change the entire tone of the conversation before it even starts.
This is such a powerful way to use that mind-body connection. You just face each other, you make eye contact, and you take 3 deep breaths together, trying to sync them up. Now, this isn't just some nice little idea. It's science. It sends a rush of oxygen to your prefrontal cortex, which calms down your nervous system and signals to your body that this conversation is safe. It literally lowers your defenses.
So here's how it works in practice. One person, the sender, shares something they appreciate. The receiver's only job is to mirror it back. Okay, let me see if I got that. You appreciate, and then they check. Did I get it? The sender says yes, and maybe adds a little more, like how that action makes them feel. And the receiver just keeps mirroring, validating, and empathizing until the sender finally says, yep, you got it all.
Practicing this way builds the muscle you need for those harder conversations, and it leads to this really profound shift in perspective. What if all that tension, all that disagreement you feel in the power struggle, what if it wasn't actually a sign that your relationship was failing?
This is the ultimate takeaway. I want you to really hear this. Conflict is growth trying to happen. Every single disagreement is an opportunity. It's your relationship highlighting an area where you both need to stretch and learn and grow as individuals and as a couple. It's not a threat, it's an invitation.
So just imagine if you stopped using conflict as a weapon to try and win fights, and you started using it as a tool to build understanding. What kind of safety and connection and real intimacy could you create in your relationship? What could you build together?